Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. If you could just bow your heads wherever you are. Dear Father God in heaven, we come before Thee to ask that You humbly bless us and humbly be with us as we go through the activities of the day's meetings. Bless all that are here. Bless all that wish they could be here but couldn't. And bless those who wished that they could be here and can't. Dear Father God in heaven, please hear this prayer and bless this food which we are about to receive in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so the breakfast is ready, and I'm going to give you a few minutes before I call the meeting to order.
At $1,150. We do have our operating expenses as we continue to get march towards gala time, and starting to put things together for the equity for the equity center. Our operating expenses are $7,560 for the month of June, and we anticipate that we'll see that forecast through July and August as we get ready for gala, and we'll be back to our normal expenditure rate. So that is all I have for the treasurer's report. If you guys have any questions or want more details, please see me afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to do this morning is go a little bit off the agenda. We have one presentation today, and it's not for an hour and 15 minutes, it's for 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. Joyce Allen from LNI is going to do a presentation, and then we're going to go back to the committee reports, and then what I want to do today, because we have some introductions of new people coming into different agencies and different roles, is to use today's meeting to start to have an open, I hear from you sometimes that we don't have the opportunity to have candid conversations and to talk around the room. So we're going to do that after today for the last hour of the meeting. With that being said, I'm going to introduce Joyce Allen from LNI, and she's going to do a presentation for us.
Hey everybody. So this is my presentation, and it's going to be sent electronically to everyone that's attending as well. So I wanted you to know that my contact information is on here, but then my business cards are on the table as well. I just want to bring up an example of everything that's on the table. So what I'm here to talk to you about is under labor and industries, but it's actually about the incentive programs that are at the legislature for business owners. So even if you are not a business owner or working in the HR department, it could be the next table conversation, the next coffee conversation that you have with someone under workers' compensation. So if someone gets injured on the job, workers' compensation insurance covers them. The business they pay for that, and it's very expensive in the state of Washington, extremely expensive. It can make or break a business. So we're really wanting to work with Tabor to talk to entrepreneurs and individuals that are starting businesses so that they know how to understand to get the maximum benefit of the system that came out of the legislature for you. The handouts that I have on the table, the major big one is all about the Stay at Work program. Then we have the flyers on the two programs I want to talk to you about, and my business card. The last thing that's very, very important that I have on the table is this hard stock piece of paper that has all programs on it so that it's kind of a visual assistant, visual aid so that you'll understand. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you when to go forward. Okay. So what I want to do, go ahead and go back for a second. What I want to do is say to you that if you remember anything I said, I'm going to talk to you about these two programs, the Stay at Work program at the legislature and the Preferred Worker program that's just recently, 2016, been enhanced. What I'm really selling is creating a Return to Work program right here. In the state of Washington, we do not have a proactive workers' comp experience. We have a very, very reactive workers' comp experience, and as soon as someone gets injured, an employer's rates go up. What we're trying to do is we're trying to sell so that we can have businesses reach out to us so that we can visit them and help them create a return to work program, a policy. We have safety programs and security programs. We don't have, hey, at the interview, Joe, we like you, we want to hire you, but if you work for this business, we have an expectation if you get injured on the job We have a return to work program. We have a policy that you need to adhere to if you're injured. And so what that is doing is it's creating the understanding, the communication with the boss and the employee of what to do if you're injured. This is the form I need you to communicate to the doctor, because an employer does not have any communication with the physician currently. They don't even know injuries occur. They don't even know claims are being filed. They're very reactive and finding out way late in the game. But please reach out to us. My business card's on the table, here's my information, to help us come and visit with you on a one-on-one to help you set up, share the templates that we have that other businesses are doing to be successful. We've given back $67 million to only 5,000 employers. There's 180,000 businesses, 180,000. There's only 5,500 using these programs. People don't know about it. People think, okay, it's too much, they don't understand, it's too intimidating. But just for that small amount, we've already given back almost 68 million. So, go ahead and go forward, thank you. So go ahead to the next slide, and one more time. So it's, like I said, it's a written document. We have templates to share, but it's the who, what, when, where, why, and how of understanding what to do if Joe gets injured, what to do, what to communicate with the physician, and what to bring back to the business so that you can stop your rates from being affected. Go ahead. Injured workers who are off work longer than 6 months only have a 50% chance of returning back to work. The whole reason the legislature's allowed us this is because of this reason. If someone's out of work for 5 days, 7 days, 2 days, or 1 day, they have a harder time to get back connected. Compensable claims, that means if we pay money on a claim, $1 paid on wages to someone sitting at home and not working light duty, the overall cost of that claim affects the business 37 times greater, and it affects them for 3 years. Nationally, it's 44 times. Okay. So this is the form that goes out the door if someone's injured on the job. And like I said, even if you don't own a business, if this becomes the next coffee conversation, that someone can get back $10,000 every time someone's injured on the job to assist with light duty work. You can share it with a brother, an uncle, a sister. But this form is what gets communicated to the physician. This goes out the door once Joe's injured. And go ahead and pass these slides since we're limited on time. But it's self-explanatory as to how you fill it out. This is a new form that we have in our system. This is now getting completed by the physicians. This is saying, hey, this is what Joe can and cannot do, and this comes back to the business. Go ahead. One more time. So the Stay at Work program. The Stay at Work program offers a business up to $10,000 in wage replacement. So as soon as Joe is injured, Joe says, hey, I got injured, I have a finger cut. And the employer sends them to the physician's office to get medical care. If we don't pay wages on that claim, there's no charge to the business. That employee could have 100 claims filed. The businesses don't realize there's 0 charges to their rates. It's a medical only claim. We pay $1 in wages, the overall cost of that claim will affect that business 37 times greater. It's the avoidance of wage replacement that can help a business keep their insurance rates down and not even be affected. That's good. As soon as someone's injured, now businesses are saying, I can get 50% of their wages offering light duty. And businesses have been offering light duty for years based on a handshake and a verbal agreement. They take care of their employees. But now, if they just get that form out the door, the light duty description form, telling the doctor, hey, here's my light duty, this is what it looks like, that's all that needs to happen. No pre-enrollment, no signing up for anything. Getting that form out the door and having Joe take it out the door or the employer faxing it to them covers them so that after Joe works the light duty, then they can go onto our website and apply to get the wages reimbursed. So it's 50% of the base wage, and it's for 66 days. That's about 3 months worth of light duty. So businesses before were saying, hey guys, when are you gonna get back to work? You know, you're milking this claim. But now businesses are saying, oh my gosh, that's a finger cut. You could get some restrictions. Any claim, any restriction, that employer gets 50% of the wages reimbursed to them. And they have a year to file. There's also $1,000 for training, so if they're gonna say, hey, I don't have any light duty, but Joe can sit there and take some safety courses, take a certificate course at a community college online. Go ahead. $2,500 for equipment. LNI has never had the opportunity to help a business with ergo, thoracic chairs, lumbar chairs, sit-stand stations, hydraulic lifts, patient lifts, golf carts. Automobiles are getting golf carts today. Knee injury, now they own a golf cart to help with their customers once the knee injury is resolved. That becomes the property of the business. All of these ergo equipments, laptops, computers. Businesses are running out to Costco and getting a laptop and saying, hey, the answer is, if I didn't have a laptop, or if I had a laptop, I'd have light duty. But because I don't have this equipment, I don't have light duty. And that's how the legislature's saying that we can help businesses by creating the light duty position. $400 for clothing. Who would want $400 worth of free clothing? Hey, now you're going to be working the customer service desk. We're going to get you some khaki pants, some button-up shirts. There is no charge on employers' rates if they utilize all of this, which is just short of $14,000 per claim, not per Joe. So if Joe's clumsy and has 3 claims or 10 claims, possibility $10,000, almost $14,000 on each of those claims. There's Thurston County Fire and Rescue. I believe it's in Federal Way, actually. She says, I don't care who you tell, I get a laptop every time a firefighter gets injured. The businesses have signed up and have already paid for this program. Money is coming out of what they paid on their quarterly reports. So businesses who are not using this are leaving money on the table, and there's a lot of businesses that have injuries that are saying, hey, you know, use this money to pay or don't file a claim, because there's that fear of getting a claim filed. If they don't have to suppress claims anymore. Today, they can take advantage of all of this if someone does file a claim, and no effect on their rates whatsoever. So I want to talk to you about the Preferred Worker Program, and it's really best to do it more in a conversation than it is per slide. It's been around since the 70s. Let's say someone gets injured really bad, the doctor says, you can no longer work in that industry, firefighter. You cannot be a firefighter anymore. They would have to stop, even if they spent 10, 15 years invested in that career, they can no longer be a firefighter anymore. And because their work history shows that they did other things, and labor market proves that those other things are still available, they would have to leave that industry, whatever it is, crane operator, water waste, firefighters, and go out and find another job and start all over. They would get a preferred worker card status. Put that card in their billfold, go out and find another job, slide that card across at the interview and say, hey, I have preferred worker status with LNI, so if you hire me for 36 months, 3 years, LNI will eat the cost of any claims I file. We had 7 applications a year, that's it. Today we're getting 125 a month. We went out to employees and said, how come do you, and they said, we don't tell anybody that I have preferred worker status. There's a stigma on a disability, there's a stigma that I've already filed a claim, I don't tell anybody. So they went back to the legislature because of the success of the Stay at Work program, and they've enhanced it to mirror the Stay at Work program and changed it so the employer of record, now the fire department can keep Joe on. Hey, you can't be a firefighter, but we're going to make you medevac, we're going to make you a safety officer, we're going to make you a lead, a trainer. If Joe says, I accept that job, well, if you were making roughly $50 an hour, now you're going to be making $20 an hour. And Joe can say, I don't want that job. And he takes his preferred worker status with him, finds another employer and says, hey, I have preferred worker status, and these are all the benefits. But let's say he stays with that same business now. Same thing. New employer or original employer, still another 36 months, no matter how many claims Joe files, no cost to the business. If you hire someone that walks in off the door, you find out they have preferred worker status, for 3 years, LNI will eat the cost of any claims. And by the 3rd year, you really know and understand the integrity of the person you have hired. Now, married to the Stay at Work program, another $10,000 for the first 66 days of that permanent position, $2,500 for equipment, another $400 for clothing, and at the end of 12 months, if there's no reduction in wages, a bonus of 10% of their annual income, or $10,000, whichever is less. So it keeps the employer hired on with the business, invested in their pension, they don't have to leave and move out and try to start all over again. And it helps the business, especially if you're hiring someone that's walking in off the street. You can't ask them, or you can do whatever you want, but legally we suggest try not to ask them before an interview, hey, do you have preferred worker status? Because if you don't give them the job, you don't want that to look bad. But I have these on the tables, and this is what we're sharing with businesses as an idea to say, hey, put it on your application, put it on your website. We're preferred worker friendly. That's the term we came up with. These are stickers for the window. These are stickers for the application or any handout materials. I went and shared this, and that's what we do. There's only 4 of us that do outreach in the whole state. And I was in Puyallup. There's a moving company in Puyallup that makes there's 2 businesses. There's a business that makes parts for Boeing. 389 employees, and he had created this huge rubber sign, and he hung it up above the break room, and it said, we are preferred worker friendly. And then in smaller writing, it said, if you have this status with the Department of Labor and Industry, CHR. 389 employees. It doesn't expire for 5 years. 3 people came forward and told him, I have that status. Because they could receive, because people change jobs until you really settle in your career, right out of high school and beyond. And if they get, let's say someone falls off a chair, they get a rotator cuff surgery. And then if the physician says for the rest of your life, you're never going to be able to lift 10 pounds over your head, they would qualify for preferred worker status. Down in Longview by Oregon, there was a woman I went to meet, sitting right next to the owner of the business. She had just interviewed and hired an accountant, 2 females, same level of hire. And she smacks the owner and she says, oh my gosh, that's what she meant. And he's like, what? She said she had written on her application that she was preferred worker friendly because she had heard us communicating about that, thought it was her role to do that. And so she would have had over $22,000 had she hired that person. She said she thought she was saying she was the preferred worker because she was friendly. And she said, well, it's a good thing we want a good crew. But she hired the woman that, get this, lived the closest and had no children because she figured maybe there'd be less, right? And she said, I could have hired them. They were at the same level of hire. So the preferred worker program has been enhanced if anyone has this status after January 1st, 2016. And this is why I bring this material and I order it again and again to share with businesses. You may not have known about the Stay at Work program. I really need you to know that going forward, both of these programs have been announced last year that they're staying. Every other year, legislature had to vote it back in, and it's now staying. So as we move forward, if you tell a nephew, a neighbor, anyone, if someone's injured on the job, you can get $10,000 with one program, over $22,000 for the other one, $36,000 for both programs if used together. Now, the final thing, I'm trying to be quick so you can have your time. On this handout, besides Stay at Work, preferred worker, is the job modification. I put this on here because I did claims for 12 years. Employers don't know about a job modification. You can, it's not on my slides, you can, once one person qualifies on any claim for time loss, doesn't mean LNI had to pay wages, which affects your rates. The employer can say, well, I'm gonna pay their wages so LNI doesn't. Hey Joe, you're injured so bad, your back is out. You're gonna go home and lay flat on your back for a whole week. We don't pay for the first 3 days out of work, but if that person was out of work for the 4th day, they would have qualified for time loss. A business can say, hey, I'm gonna pay their wages so my rates aren't affected. But that one day, in any life of that claim, a business can say, I'm applying for a job modification. That's $5,000 in equipment. Getting a sit-stand station, getting the chairs that you need, going into a warehouse and saying, what do we need? We need an electric sweeper. Going into a hotel, there's bed makers, electric carts. There's so much equipment to purchase and to use that $5,000 on any claim. You can fly through these. This is the preferred worker program. Go ahead. The 36 months. Go ahead. And then this is the 50% of the gross wages, clothing, tools and equipment. And then this is that 12 months, at the end of 12 months to get that one-time bonus. Go ahead, and this is the handout that I'm referring to. So the next slide shows the website and information for the Stay at Work program, and then the next slide is for the Preferred Worker program, and then my business card is on there. And there's gonna be more handouts over at the table if anybody didn't get enough. So, are there any questions? Yes.
How does this work with the Aflac insurance?
Aflac not connected. That's private, and so this is,
So if you have one or the other, they're mutually exclusive?
yes, that's right. Yes.
Any chance I can get a copy of this slide?
Yep, she's gonna send it to everybody that's in attendance.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the Tabor website.
Yes.
When you talked about does this, other than Aflac, is it the insurance companies that are picking up the cost of this?
It's the State of Washington Department of Labor and Industries Workers' Compensation Insurance. So if a business owner can opt to cover themselves when they start a business, but if you have employees that work for you, it's mandatory by law that you have to cover them for workers' comp insurance. And it's set at a rate depending on the type of industry, how many employees you have. So everybody pays a different rate. And it's back in the day, as soon as someone was injured, a business would say, there goes my rates. So there'd be a lot of claim suppression. Put that on your private insurance. Don't you file a claim on my business. There's a lot of fear in filing a claim, not wanting to upset the business owner. But today, they could have 100 claims and it doesn't affect them. We now have medical-only claims. Doesn't affect the business, doesn't affect their rates. We pay out $1 in wages, it's gonna affect their rates 37 times greater, just that one claim, and it goes for 3 years.
If I
Yes.
understand correctly, you're saying that if you have somebody on LNI, they file a claim, but if you can put them on light duty, then that doesn't count as a claim, not to mention they get all
The
this
claim counts.
incentive money to put
Yes.
them on light duty?
Everything you said, the claim counts. The claim is valid, if
Okay.
it's proven valid on its own merits, of course. The employer doesn't have to have their rates affected because someone just filed a claim. If we pay wages, it's gonna affect their rates. But a medical-only claim, the legislature comes in every other year and it sets the medical-only deduction. Right now, it's $28.60, so it's just less than $3,000. The legislature says, we have looked at our bills, and the cost of our bills, and for not 3 months, but 6 months, they do not go over the average of $3,000. So someone can get the care that they need outside of the cost of an MRI, x-rays, medical care, treatment modality like massage, physical therapy. They can get all that treatment for 6 months and it still falls under a medical only. If it goes over $3,000 on a medical only claim, it's pennies, nickels on the premium that a business pays. So it's not costly to a business to have claims filed today. If we pay wages, it's costly. An employer can say, well, I'll pay their wages while they're out of work. So, with that being said, now we're trying to create, like my first line, a return-to-work culture versus a go-home-and-recover culture, because that's what we had. Joe gets injured, Joe goes to the doctor and tells the doctor whether he can work or not, rightfully so, and they're communicating. Now the business is sending this form out the door to the doctor, and that employer's voice is inside that examining room by means of that form. That employer is saying, I have light duty. So the doctor looks at the light duty and says, can Joe do this light duty? Sends Joe back to work. So we have businesses saying, I have light, we had a huge provider campaign because we needed the providers to know about the programs as well, to know about these new forms we're introducing to them. So one physician raised his hand, asked for a microphone, spun around on his heel. I thought he was going to get me. He said to his colleagues, we need to be more excited about the return-to-work culture they're wanting to create, because I have people walking through the door waving light-duty job descriptions saying, my boss wants me to come back to work on light duty. I have the employer's voice inside my examining room the first day I see that employee. That business offers light duty, and we're saying, here's the incentive for you to do that. Here's 50% of their wages. And they have a year to file for that. Go ahead.
Okay, so
get you, sorry about that, you were next.
Based on what you said, so an employer can say, I'm gonna pay this employee's wages while they can't work.
Well, they can't work.
Right, and they can be open about that, and because the wages aren't having to be paid by the state, it won't affect their rates still.
They won't affect the rates.
Still
Yeah.
won't affect the rates.
Yeah, yes. If someone comes back to work light duty, the employer pays the worker their wages. They're working light duty, then they ask for 50% of that back. But if a doctor says, hey, you're injured so bad you're gonna go home, can't offer light duty. Doesn't put them on any type of temporary restriction, right? So an employer then can opt to say, I will pay their wages while they're sitting at home 100% so that LNI doesn't. So you're gonna pay them to sit at home because the doctor says they're gonna be at home, so LNI doesn't, or you're gonna pay them to work light duty, and you're gonna get 50% of their wages. Yes, sir, you've been very patient.
Yeah,
Which way?
so I managed workers' comp for 10
Over
years.
X amount of
10
time.
years, okay.
10 years. So it's really about a culture of return to work versus what we call time loss, where someone is just sitting at home and getting paid. I did it at the city of Seattle. We were self-insured. And in many cases, when you're self-insured, basically it's,
He knows.
you de-incentivize because a person can sit at home and get a full salary, sometimes more, just to stay at home.
That was the culture.
And that was the culture. We started, when I was there many years ago, a light duty program, a return to work program, because they don't have to come back to the job that they were initially doing.
Right.
They can come back and do any job. But once they sit out, you get an experience rate that just basically says people are getting injured and they're staying out, which means that if they're out, they're probably more seriously injured. And then that's like someone that gets in a car wreck. If you get in a serious car wreck, pretty soon your insurance just goes up because it becomes your experience kind of rate and
That's right.
profile. So when you think of it, think of your business owner, whether you're self-insured or you provide insurance, bringing people back to work saves you money.
It saves you money. So with the Stay at Work program, thank you very much. Self-insured employers opted not to participate because self-insured employers have the culture of, you're not going home to recover, you're gonna come back to work. If we can't give you light duty here, we'll put you to work in some form. We can even have them working at home. State fund employers, we're trying to help state fund employers keep their rates down and to become more proactive like the self-insured employers. Does anybody else have any more questions? Yes.
Yeah, question for you. Is there, I'm looking for the business opportunity, since this is a business opportunity group. Are there contracts that are given for, when you were showing the little scooters and the clothes and the, are there opportunities there to supply some of those goods and services?
Not through us. Well, we don't even affiliate with businesses that say, we had a woman that was smart in that way, and she's saying, hey, can I join your webinar? And then get plugged in at the end to say, I sell hospital equipment.
Right.
So if I help you get connected via a webinar with all of these, the Mason General, etc., and we couldn't do that because as a state government, we can't show any favoritism, yeah, or solicit in any way. What some businesses are doing is they're creating employment, security, what's it called? They're creating business development groups such as this. And that's kind of a way to market, getting the knowledge of all things HR. That's really what's really happening in our state right now, and it is over the top selling. We have people creating new business development groups. One man can start and have 2 to 3 businesses join. They pay to be a part of that circle, and it's just like similar to here. So that's really
Nate,
One more thing.
I want to follow up with what Nate said. And what we're doing and how we're discovering all of these different programs is, as you know, we're building the economic center, and we're looking at different things that we can have housed there or managed there. So on the back office support at the center and working with our clients, our firms, we can make sure that the businesses are aware of this, go apply for this, but then we can control, and by the way, we have Joe Small, we can do that.
they can. So these are the type of things that we've been looking at to bring under back office support and things that can be managed for, because as you know, our business owners or employees, owners, not aware of all of these programs. So what we're trying to do is to help you understand there's a lot of opportunity that can be housed at back office support at the economic center that we can manage for you, and at the same time help your businesses based on that, because we're going to have our list of firms that can provide whatever's necessary. We have computers, who sells computers, I saw you, who sells computer, who does different, there will be some technology that might have to take place with someone working from home. So we have a Tabor member that can do that work. We have the chairs and on the shirts. So we have everything as part of Tabor membership.
Yeah,
So
that's real
and that's what we are researching, different programs that we can educate. And I was actually in the subject line for today's Who's Speaking, I put there, businesses should attend. This is why we don't know about all of the opportunities that are out there for our firms. We have to show up and learn this stuff. But if we're housing all of this at the Economic Center, we can help our businesses understand different things out there.
Yeah, it was great when she reached out. She's like, hey, your message needs to come to this group. Yeah. Yes,
Regina had the mic, and then.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion that you coordinate with OMWBE when certification process takes place. This could be something that's automatically on that form. The opportunity to do that, and also reach out to organizations like Craft 3 and Seattle Credit Union that are doing special alternative funding. This is another revenue stream that they could be made aware of, because at that time the business owner has 100% of their attention to get certified. There could be a link that's right there that they talk about on their website, but it's on the application. Consider this also.
Yeah, please send me an email.
Okay.
As we are really trying to get, so when I travel I-5, I actually move to a 10-hour shift, because with traffic, I will leave my house at 5 in the morning, get home at 7 at night, and hit only 3 to 4 businesses. Okay, that's it, in one day. It's not enough. We need to get out there. We try to hit chambers, associations, anything affiliated where we get individuals like this in a mass. And every time, good news travels fast, especially when you could save a business. And if I tell you, you could tell 2 people, and we can just keep going and move it from 5,500 participating back up to 180,000.
In terms of business opportunity, and this is just a thought experiment. If I had a business where the work that was done in that business was ideally or was quite suitable for people who need light duty work, would that be of value? Could companies who cannot provide light duty work for their people farm out to that?
So that's a great question, and it was looked at, but it was declined. The legislature kicked that back, the AG office kicked that back and said that per the RCW, it needs to benefit the business, the well-being of the business. We had some businesses that said, well, hey, we give so many hours to the Goodwill for volunteering, and it helps on your end of report taxes, and we couldn't justify that, so that got changed. So I wish I had better news on that.
He had a question.
Yes.
Are there any income limits on the companies that
Anyone?
are there income limits, like revenue
Period.
limits on the companies that could subscribe to the service?
No. As long as their employees are covered under workers' comp, except for self-insured employers who opted not to participate because like that light duty proactive piece. But no, and there's no maximum. So if someone's filed, they have 100 employees and they each file 20 claims. Every claim has the potential of $10,000. There's some businesses that have reached $4 million this year. And they're not big businesses. And Target and Michael's, they take their refund now and they go at the end of the year and they take 50% of what they get back, they put it back in the Return-to-Work funds, and then they say to their employees, what do you want to do? Do you want to split it up and have a Christmas bonus? Do you want a Christmas party? And down in Chehalis was Michael's, I think, the employees actually said, we'd like to get one of those circulating pallet wrappers that help shrink it circulates, and that's what the employees wanted. So, and in the state of Washington, a lot of people don't realize that the employees are paying up to 40% in workers' comp, but employees don't know that. Very small percentage of employers opt to pay 100%, and if employees are told, hey, if the guy next to you doesn't return back and work by duty, all of our rates are affected. More money's coming from us, and more money's coming out of your own checks too.
Is light duty hours, or is it physical ability, or is it some combination of the both?
It's a combination of the both. So a physician, and we never had these forms before, we just recently in the last 5 years have a new provider account where providers have to apply to be part of LNI, which helps us control opioids and surgeries and employment conversations. The activity prescription form is the form, the second form I showed you, where the doctors now need to complete that and send that back to the business. So the physician says what they can and cannot do, and then the employer says, okay, well, this is what I have. So it's the combination of both. Anyone else? Yes. Yes.
For the vast majority of businesses, this information will be relatively new.
Yes.
Does your office have case management resources to help some of these businesses navigate what will be new information and new processes for them so they can help develop this new return to work culture?
Yes, yes, and I ask you to reach, yes, I ask you to reach out to me, and not only that, make me your new best friend when it comes to LNI, because I've been there quite a while. Even if you don't have a question on the return to work incentive programs, I know how to get you connected to the person that you may need. Keep my business card on a Rolodex or in your phone, and I have for years employers contacted me about anything. And so we have webinars, we have free webinars. You can sit at your computer and listen to the webinars. I could show you where the webinar training page is. You can go to the LNI homepage and just type training, workshops, webinars. We have in-person, different location workshops, 2-hour workshops, just modules back to back. We have contractor training workshops. We have a small business liaison office where you can join our small business newsletter and get an email to keep you informed as you work with the Department of Labor and Industries as you move forward.
And like I said, this is all part of what we intend to have at the Equity Empowerment Center. Is the mic on? You have the better mic. Yes.
This is what we intend to have at the Equity Empowerment Center. And we intend to have Joyce maybe there once a month, and various other departments, because I'm sure there are other things within state government that benefit businesses that we all are not aware of. And that's all part of having everything being housed or introduced at one-stop location. And while we're on, the camera's not on me, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so can you turn it off? Thank you.